I'm Sarah, and I've got a straight answer first because you asked it before you clicked. She's alive, working, and still showing up on The View, but the story under that smile is heavier than most of us know. At this age, stepping into her 70s, the applause doesn't drown out the old echoes, and that tension is why we're here. If this sounds like the kind of messy but real talk you want more of, that's what we do here at Golden American Legends. So yeah, subscribe if you want in. I grew up watching Ghost on a scratchy TV, thinking fame was a warm blanket. Then I learned, it can also feel like armor you're tired of wearing. Whoopi Goldberg is an EGOT, a barrier breaker, a culture shifter, and still the kid once called slow because no one caught her dyslexia. She climbed from New York housing projects where bills stacked like storm clouds, and her mom worked until her body hummed with exhaustion. She left school at 16, stumbled into drugs that lied like friendly ghosts, and clawed back with the kind of grit you only earn in the dark. She saw 2 planes collide over San Diego and spent 13 years chained to the ground by fear, riding buses while opportunity flew by. That's not tabloid noise, that's the wiring behind the legend, and the wiring matters when we talk about the weight at 70. Because before the red carpets came the cost, and costs, they keep their receipts. Do you see how the shine and the shadows started in the same room? Stay with me, because the first cracks explain the later storms. She was born Karen Elaine Johnson, then shaped herself into Whoopi, but the shape came from pressure, not comfort. Her dad was gone, her mom Emma held the world together with tired hands, and dinner sometimes looked like a plan more than a meal. Teachers called her dumb, and each red mark was a cut that stayed, until years later she said, "I wasn't stupid, I was dyslexic." At 14 and 15, she faced pregnancies alone. The first nearly killed her. The second came when the law changed and quite literally saved her life. That kind of pain doesn't fade. It becomes fuel, and that fuel turned into a voice that refused silence when she spoke up for women who feel cornered. She quit school, worked anything she could, poured coffee, laid brick, tended the dead, taught acting like it was oxygen, and taught a young Courtney Love, too. The sky betrayed her after that mid-air crash, so she rode buses, miles and miles, until a contract forced her to face the plane again, sweating through terror and still going. It wasn't pretty, but survival usually isn't. It's more like duct tape and stubborn prayers. In smoky rooms in Berkeley, she started spinning pain into characters, turning scars into monologues that made strangers cry and laugh in the same breath. That's how the voice got sharp, that's how the humor got brave, and that's why the later awards felt like payback and pressure at the same time. I keep wondering, if you had to build your life out of splinters, would you ever stop checking for splinters? Let's see what happened when the whisper became a roar. Citizen was a whisper, then the one-woman show screamed truth, then Broadway sold out until her throat burned and her mirror asked, "Can I keep this up?" The color purple cracked her open. The nomination said, "You belong," while doubt sat on the pillow and watched her try to sleep. Ghost gave her the Oscar, second Black woman to hold that statue, and the hotel room after felt too quiet for a moment so big. Sister Act turned joy into a passport. The world sang along while exhaustion put its feet on her coffee table. She hosted the Oscars, first Black woman solo, history in heels, and every joke got sliced and weighed like it was a courtroom exhibit. Then came The View, a chair with no script and a million judges, where a sentence said in seconds can echo for years. Her takes on Michael Vick, Roman Polanski, Mel Gibson, Bill Cosby, each one pulled apart under lights that sear, not warm. Some people called it fearless, some called it careless, and she said, "I'm not perfect," which isn't an excuse, it's a bruise. Words are knives. They can cut new doors or cut deep, and she kept showing up anyway, which is its own kind of stubborn faith. I get it and I fight it, because part of me wants clean heroes and the other part knows humans talk messy in real time. Do you think live TV made her voice bigger or just made the echo louder? Now let's go where the spotlight doesn't reach. Okay, this part hurts, and I'm gonna keep it human. At 18, she married Alvin Martin, became a mom, and the ground kept shaking under their feet until it all broke by 23, leaving her alone with a baby and a promise she had to invent day by day. Years later, she tried again with David Klassen, then with Lyle Trachtenberg, brief hopes, brief roofs, and then that raw truth she said out loud, "I never really wanted to be married." There was love with Ted Danson, too, bright and public and fragile, and that roast turned a private heart into a public bruise. None of it ended with tidy bows, just lessons carved in the grain, the kind you feel every morning like weather. Then grief took the lead, her mother Emma in 2010, her brother Clyde in 2015, and the house got too quiet in ways applause can't fix. Illness stalked her body, endometriosis early, then pneumonia in 2018 and 2019 that nearly took her, doctors saying 30% and machines saying, hold on. She came back slower, grateful, saying, "I came very close to leaving here," and you could hear the air in that sentence. She talked about weight and help and warned people about fake ads using her face because harm hides in shiny buttons. I don't want to paint her as a saint, just a person who keeps choosing breath, which is a bigger act than any scene. If the heart keeps paying, how do you decide which rooms are still worth walking into? One more turn, because life didn't end in the hospital, it widened. Today, she lives on her own terms, a 1920s New Jersey refuge, an Italian quiet by the sea, books stacked, grandkids loud, and mornings that feel like second chances she can actually taste. She's still on The View, still blunt, still not courting perfection, still pushing on projects like Sister Act 3, and still turning wounds into service. She helped build Emma and Clyde to honor the two names she can't call anymore. And in 2025, she put her weight behind a women's sports network so more voices get a lane. Her money isn't a parade, it's a tool, and her freedom is the thing she guards more than diamonds. She jokes about being an old broad and also admits she'd rather keep her house to herself, which sounds like peace, finally learning her address. When people ask, is she okay, I say she's breathing and working and complicated, which is the most honest okay I know. If this felt like the kind of respectful, layered look you want more of, hit subscribe and tell me your favorite Whoopi moment in one line, Ghost, Sister Act, or The Color Purple. Thank you for watching, really, and for keeping space for the messy middle where legends are human first. We read your stories, we check the facts, we keep the receipts clean so nostalgia can be warm without being blind. I keep thinking of her like a lighthouse with chipped paint, still throwing light, still standing in weather, and somehow that helps me stand too. So tell me, when the laughter fades and the room gets quiet, what do you want your light to still mean? More chapters are waiting, and I'd love to see you for the next one.